Okay, we'll get the bod up in here and going and make sure it's working. If anybody wants to play the games. Okay, it's going. Back to the screen here. Get back to the truck build today. I've been working on some videos, getting videos ready for next week. Kind of put the truck build off to the side. Gonna build shocks and turnbuckles today. Try to here. Get them all built. Hey David. First thing we'll do is get the pistons put on the shafts. You got to put a little Loctite on them. Give them a chance to set for just a little bit, because they'll be going into oil, so best to let them sit for a little bit. Let the Loctite work, and we'll build a set of turnbuckles while that's happening. One pair. Some parts laid out here. I do run, don't run front pistons that are included with the kit. I went to a bigger hole. I think the hole on or what they're using 2x1/6 in the kit. The hole size 1.6 millimeter in the front shocks. They're just too much pack in the shocks. Too stiff. Make the truck work good. So we go to a 2x1.7 hole set up in the front, and the rears are 2x1.8s. And one thing I do is take a mark across them. Makes it easier to see what you got in the shocks. That's a 1.6/1.6. These are the two 1.8s, 1.8s that I will use. To make sure. Yeah, that's a 1.8. Just got a little bit of a mark in the little bit of a mark into the indentation where they I will be streaming, doing my coin thing on Sunday at 1 o'clock before the Super Bowl. I won't be using the kit springs. I actually run buggy springs on my carpet trucks. I've actually got them up here. I guess I could pull out some of the stuff here. The one stuff that I will use. That way I unclutter the table a little bit. I use the 9mm length, long length for the shock standoff or the spring standoffs. It's time to get some Loctite on them threads. Hey, Kane. Yep. Early morning for you. Doing my RC thing here. Hey, Lisa. Working on my RC car. My new one. Building the shocks and turnbuckles today. We should be pretty well done after today with this truck. Kind of start here by putting the shock shafts together with the pistons. Again, the reason I'm doing these first and I want to let them sit is let the Loctite sit for a bit before start putting oil in around them. Gives the Loctite chance to start setting up at least. And I'll say, Kane, this ain't your, this is pretty early morning over there. And you do got to Loctite these little screws in. I actually had one of these, oops, trying to screw up already. I did have one of these come apart one time. I hate using Loctite on these little tiny screws, but this is one that you have to. They will work apart. Excuse me. Yes, I need to have that turn that little comment off and on the CloudBot, because I sold that bar and ASE. I'm up to 597 subscribers, Kane. I got 5 more out of that short that I put out last night. We're about to 600. It's getting close to 600. I don't know, that short took off. It's up to like 1,400 views right now. I don't know what. I kind of got a idea of the timing is maybe helping. The time I've been putting them up. Or if just the fact that I've got up to 1,000 hours of watch time that YouTube has shown me a little bit more. Could very well be the case too. Okay, I got the shafts and pistons put together. We'll put together a turnbuckle, or a pair of turnbuckles. Got the expensive turnbuckles. Kit comes with steel ones. I've always ran titanium turnbuckles on my trucks. They don't give these things away. They're pretty proud of them. But they don't tend to bend. If you do anything, you break them. Usually what I've seen that tends to bend the ball cup, which ball cups are cheap, at least compared to these. And these do have a mark, as you can see me kind of grabbing. They've got a mark on the left-hand side, so you can tell which way, because one side's got a left-handed screw, one side's got a right-handed screw, got a right-handed thread. So you put them on the car all the same way. So you make an adjustment. It's the same either forward or back for every turnbuckle. Makes it easier. Hi, Daniel. But I won't be needing these. I can use that wrench. That's a shock wrench. The other thing too, I've jumped these up 1/2 millimeter in diameter, and now they fit my better wrench. This was made for Lunsford turnbuckles, and they've actually upped the size. Now these, I think the easiest way to get them off of there is to cut them off, if I remember right. No, they don't cut with the scissors. They don't cut with the scissors, they should break off. Go ahead and get 4 of these off of here so we can build 2 of them. I've already got the length, approximate length, set up on the vernier caliper for the first set. And one thing we do on these is use a little chapstick. Kit says to use black grease. Chapstick stays a little better. Actually, the original turnbuckle kits made by Lunsford, they give you a little tube of beeswax, which okay, thing I wanted to look at, get an idea how far these need to go in. Okay. Like I said, these are left-handed and right-handed threads, so that you can actually make adjustments. I know a lot of people do these different ways. They use a drill. Some people do. You do want to kind of work them back and forth. Cut the threads in there. Makes it easier to one, 2, 3, 4. And then we'll go about another 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Back it off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Some people will sit there with a drill and work them back and forth. As long as you at least cut the threads well past where your end up point's going to be. That's flush with the end of the threads. Look like it should be about 4 past, so then I've been going another 6 here. 2, 4, 5, 6. And then I'll back it off the 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See how close we are. Not a bad guess. We're off about one or 2 threads. And these do have a top and bottom. I don't know if you can see that. This side's pretty well flat. This side kind of indents back in. You want that indent side toward the little ball on the where it's going to go. So this is steering link. We'll do the left side one. So if this is down, this needs to be pointed back. So we'll back it off about a quarter and a turn and a quarter. See where we are. Pretty close. Not quite there yet. Not far off. And then to keep them in the same, need to turn both sides. Back up about a third of a turn each of them. Keep them in the position they need to go on to the car. Not quite there, need to go a little bit more. Should be getting really close. And there we go. Got the length right on that one. Go ahead and put it on the car while I know which one it goes on. See you, Lisa. And you can't just snap these on. They don't go on easy. It's one thing. I am sure glad they went back to these captured ends. They are so much better than a regular ball cup. That one is on. And that's approximate. We'll make adjustments after when I get the car completely finished. I'll take it out and put it on a flat surface, and we'll actually adjust it to get the toe in, toe out right at 0. We'll actually change the pitch of the front and back wheels inward a little bit, but they give you a measurement and it's approximate in the book. So that's where we initially set it up at, and then we go from there. This time we won't go in. We only need to go about 3 threads worth past where the threads end. 1, 2, 3. We'll go 6 more. 2, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we went 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. That should be pretty close. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We'll back off 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That should be closer than the first one I built. In fact, it's right on. I guess pretty good. But I probably don't have the ends where they need to be. That needs to be sticking out that way, and that's right. This one needs to be pointed back. So it needs to be unscrewed a little bit. And what we'll do is we'll unscrew that one a little bit. We'll tighten this one just a little bit. See if we're still close here. Yep, now we're just a little bit loose. So we need to tighten it. So we need to go forward just a little. That should be probably pretty close. Like to get it so it just sticks in there, and that means they'll all be the same like that. Anyway, that's that one. I think if I got them right, that's down, that one's back. Yep. Put on the other side. Hey, Ernest. Probably really need to be snapping these from the back. This is not working. I'll have to try this. we go. I say these things are tight on here, which is a good thing, because you will, these are loose, and it's the first thing that usually pops off if you hit something hard. There. And then you want them to have a little bit of wiggle room. Those do, which means they're pretty well centered. Anyway, that's 2 of them done. We'll start on the shocks now that the Loctite's had a little time to set up on these. And where'd my scissors? There they are. Of course, most of you guys are all coin guys. These are oil-filled shocks. You put different weights of oil in these. I'm going to build the rears first. I actually need another set some of the stuff out of here that I don't need right at the moment, so I can put the O-rings in there. We would try to keep them as contaminant free as possible. Hoping they put enough spacers in here that I don't have to I doubt they did though, because I don't think the kit calls for much for spacers, if any. So I'm probably going to have to find some. Limiters, I guess, is the proper terminology. And these are a lot nicer than what we used to have to deal with, that's for sure. Before, they were on trees, but these little inserts were perfectly round. You had to actually get an X-Acto knife out and trim these so there was no little burrs from breaking them off the trees. Oops, broke one away there that It's one of the thick ones. I need 4 thin ones here. But now these are not round anymore. They're actually kind of got a square shape to them. So they actually, you can just break them off and use them, which is so much nicer. But anyway, use one of these thin ones. There's a little lip that actually goes down inside a hole, the hole in here. I use a little wrench there to keep it lined up. They will flip over on you. Use a what they call an X-ring. It's an O-ring that's got 2 lips on it. Then you take one of the thick ones that goes between the 2 O-rings. Another O-ring. And then one of the thin ones. And again, you gotta face the little thinner lip of it facing up here in this case. And then you got this little sealer cap, which has a little O-ring that goes on that. I don't know why I didn't put that on first. That holds it all together in there. And I usually back it off just a freckle, and once I get the shaft shoved through there, I'll go ahead and tighten that up. I guess I'll go ahead and put the other O-ring on it before I forget about it. That's for the shock cap on this end. Do the same on the second shock. Put the little sealing O-rings on there first. I don't know why I didn't do that on the first one. And do it the same way. Thin one. Like I say, I use the wrench to keep it from flipping over until it gets down in place. X-ring. It tried to go goofy on me there. Pop it back up. There we go. Thick one. X-ring. Thin one with the narrower part to the top, and the cap. So you back it off just a little bit. Next thing we do, we're ready to put the shafts in. Need to get some of these ready to go. This is the bottom of the shock. See if we can cut these off. Part of the reason those other ones didn't cut was they got 3 different lengths of these. We used the middle length. We got what they call a 0 millimeter. These are +2, and then there's a +4. And that will change how long the overall length of the shock is when it's extended. And these need the little ball that goes in there. Put in. Those. And what we do on these, first thing, take this stuff. It's called green slime. Associated has always used this, had this stuff around. And what I do, I fill this area with green slime where the shaft goes through the seals, up, fill it up to the point that I start seeing the green slime come up through the bottom of the shock. There's that one. Wasted quite a bit on that one. Holy crap. It's not have been in the hole. There we go. No wonder it took so long for it to fill up. Then take the shock shaft. Okay, and I need to see what I need for limiters. I don't think they give us any limiters on this. I don't know why they don't do that, give you a few limiters. So I gotta find some. Hopefully I got enough. That isn't them. That isn't them. I think I'm in the wrong box here. Yeah, I think I'm in the wrong box. Yep, those are old metal washers. Okay, there we go. There's some. Hopefully there's enough there. And on the rear shocks, I have one internal limiter. Which means, and then none on the outer. Front shocks, I use 2 inner and 1 outer. So I will need 6 more, and that's exactly what I got there, thank goodness. So I don't need to lose any of these. See you, Lisa. And what we do, take that green slime again, and we coat the threads of the shock shafts. And the reason we do this is to help prevent nicking those O-rings as you're shoving this shaft through the seals or whatever, through the pack. And I always use just a drop of shock oil on it too. Or try to make it one drop. And then I always cover the hole as I'm pushing the shaft through. That actually packs that green slime back into around the seals. It helps keep the oil from leaking out once you fill it with oil. Do that to both of them. Okay, why is that not wanting to go? Help maybe if I hit the hole. There we go. Again, I keep my finger over that end tight. Kind of force that green slime back into the seals. Then the next thing we need to do, I have a measurement for these. The rear is 36.25 millimeters. Yep, see you, Ernest. Thanks for stopping in. I know this ain't interesting to most of you. No problem there. A lot of busy work. building these kits. But I got that length measured there. I need to tighten the bottom of the caps now that the shaft is through. That one's good. That one's good. Now we need to put the shock end on. And I got this handy dandy little tool that grabs the shock shaft without damaging it, because these do screw on fairly tight. You gotta squeeze pretty tight on that shaft or it will spin, and you don't want that to happen. You usually get that turned up to about where the threads are flush. I'm just a little bit past too tight. See how that is? Still a little bit too tight. There we go. And that's good to go. Excuse me. Do the other one. I don't know why I was doing this backhanded. I can squeeze a lot tighter with my right hand. My left hand is a little messed up from injuries back in the day. One reason I drive left-handed. My thumb or my pointy finger doesn't work as good as it should, and that's your throttle finger, so I've always drove left-handed. It's a little bit too far. That was tight. It's the thing, these plastic parts, when you're cutting threads, tend to heat up and they kind of melt. You run a metal or screw through them. So it's a little too tight. Okay, we need just a freckle more. It's right there. That should be good to go. Okay, got those together. Now we can fill them with those two with oil. We'll pump them up just a little bit and let them sit and get the air out of them. I run 30 weight oil in the rear. This setup will be pretty close to what my other truck was. The two major differences between the rubber tire truck and the foam tire truck for me, I run a softer sway bar on this foam tire truck. And I'm going to try something which I think will help. I didn't do on my last trucks. I'm going to run one step softer spring on the front. And the reason I'm going to do that is the foam tire truck always starts out a little bit tight, especially during practice and the heats, and usually by the main it's pretty good. So something I've done with my four-wheel drive and going to foams, I run a step softer front spring, and then of course the softer front sway bar, and that has seemed to help the four-wheel drive not being so tight earlier in the day, which means I have to wait on it to turn corners. And like I say, we'll just experiment a little bit, see if that don't make that, help that early day push or understeer go away. It did help significantly on my four-wheel drive. A little softer front end, give a little more bite in the corners. Again, we're filling the shocks, pumping them to get the air working out. I know you guys can't see it, but you can see this oil is full of bubbles, and it takes a little while for them to work out. So you do is pump them up a little bit, fill them up to the top, and let them sit for a while, let that air work out of them. We're not quite there full yet. The bottle of oil is just about empty. I got another one out here if I need it, but I don't think I should. Okay. Put that aside, let it sit for a little bit. Got holes here in this pit stand. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let the shocks sit there and get the air out of them. And now we'll go back to, I guess I can start getting these shocks ready to go, but we'll still build another set of turnbuckles while we're letting the air work out of them. Get the stuff on these before out of the way. That way they're in place. Another thing I can do while I'm sitting here, we'll go ahead and get the bleeder screw threads cut into the, and I'm a firm believer of cutting these screws ahead of time, putting them in, getting the threads cut in them. Again, that whole plastic getting hot when you put a screw in it thing. Tends to kind of warp the threads. I have stripped these out before. So I'll go ahead and pre-cut the threads in them and back the screw back out. And I'll actually take them out before I bleed the shocks. Bleed the air out of the top of the shock. And the other thing, I have had one of these little screws be missing the, it didn't have the cutout for the wrench, so that way we don't get blindsided and go to put it together and have to go find another screw to bleeder screw. See, I did have that happen once. The screw was defective. Anyway, those four are ready to go. There is other things I can get ready, but We'll go ahead and start on the turnbuckles. Okay. Oh, did I put them links on the wrong? Oh, I did. I bet you I did. Yeah, I did. Well, those are going to be fun to get off. I put them links on the steering. They need to be there on these. Anyway, we'll have to pop them back off. The length is right to go on those. We'll go ahead and build the steering ones. I would have noticed it eventually. Quite a bit off. They would have been 6 millimeters, which ain't a lot, but it would definitely make it look funny. Like, what in the world's going on here? And those are not going to be fun to pop back off. These need to be 37.7, which is about the length of that shock shaft was. 6, 7. Okay, that's it right there. Okay, these will be about right to the end of the threads. A little chapstick to lubricate the threads. Excuse me. And go 6 turns past. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I might have to go get a pop. Just about out. And that's the other thing. Will I be able to just turn those? Nope, they'll be half a turn off, so I'll have to make some adjustments. on those ones I put on already. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Length should be pretty close. Get the caliper. And only about a half a thread off. Okay. That's down. This will need to face back. Tight half a turn, or quarter turn. I'm sure it's still too loose. Yeah, no. Perfect. Now I get the fun job. Popping those ones I put on earlier back off. These do not pop off easy. That wasn't as bad as I figured it would be. This one might be. Wasn't that bad. That's the left one. I say we're going to have to readjust it to get the ball ends on the right way. Make sure I'm getting them on there. Get on there. There we go. And rather than messing with that one, changing what my caliper is set at, I'll go ahead and do the other steering. Just leave those set up to this. Make sure I know which one's left and right. I say those do have a top and a bottom. Compared to how it snaps on the ball stud, and I can't just put it's a half a turn off, so I have to make a little adjustments to the the length is right, but the one ball cup is a half a turn off. So I have to make adjustments accordingly. Okay. Okay, 6 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Back it off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, the reason I'm do that, I turn it on farther, is it cuts the threads up farther in case I need to make adjustments later, and easier to pre-cut the threads. Some guys actually will use a drill and sit and work these back and forth, cutting the threads to get these to loosen up. I don't get quite that extreme. I just make sure I got threads cut further than what I will ever make any adjustment to them. And also pre-cutting the thread and backing it off, it gets the plastic a little chance to cool down, because the plastic gets really hot when you just doing this, cutting these threads, and it'll actually kind of melt to the metal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll see how close we are. Just a little too tight. About a half a thread too tight. Let's see, that needs to face back. It needs to face down so it's actually in the position. We're too tight, so we need to back off both of them about a quarter turn here. And it's going to take a little bit more than that. Might have been closer to a turn off. There we go. We'll have to tighten it back up just a little bit. Yeah, no, it's good. Make sure again I got them the right way. And now to pop the ball ends off. The ones I put in the wrong spot. Oh, come on. things are tight. That's the right one. Needs to go on there. Need to have this flipped around. Let's see if we can't get it. Yeah, we got it. Okay, at least those are now on the right spot. We'll get the other two put onto their right spots now. Readjust length. Here my caliper. Yep, good there. Left one, like I say, I was a half a turn off. So this one's face back. Yep, that one's up, so I need to move each one a quarter turn in the opposite direction. That should be right now. That's the bottom. This should be faced. Oh, that's not right. Why didn't that work for me? Why didn't that? Oh, that's, oh, okay, that's right. That's down, and that one pops this way. That's right. Now if the length is right, which it should be. Yep, that one's good. Hey, David. Guess you're still hanging out here watching paint dry. That should be right for the other side. That side faces down, and that should be, yep, that's aimed the right way. And hopefully the length is still good. Cool. Yep, pop the other ones on now. I'm gonna do it by like this. Backwards. This one goes over here. This one goes over to here. Sure, yep. Everything looks the right way. I know this is out of your camera view, but it's easier for me. Because the bottom of this is not square. And I got to get the pliers over. Yep, it went on though. Yeah, and I sort of remember one of these links being way off. This one looks like this might be the one. No, come on, come on, come on. Are you kidding me? Why in the world didn't I notice that? Yep, everything comes back off. I was right the first time. Do it once, do it twice, do it 3 times. So I had it right the first time. These links were on the right spot. The ones I put on first. Can't believe I looked at that, changed my mind, look at it again, it's like, are you kidding me? I thought that looked goofy. And I can see these steering links are way too short. Or what I've got at the steering links right now. Oh. Quarter turn. Length is right. That's left and right. I'm going to pop these off for another time. Maybe this time I'll get them onto the right spot. That's the right side. Right, right. can't believe I'd done that. Had them on there right, and then changed my mind, and it was right to begin with. Taking way longer than it should. Okay, come off it here. Come on, pop off. Should be right. Measure the length again for the third time. And it's acting a little bit tight now. By piddling around with it, I've got it off just a little bit. Oh no, it's all right. Left side. Okay, why are we seeing it sewing backwards? Should be right. Adjusted them the right way. That's that side. Yep, it's back. It's probably the reason why it's loose. We're a half a turn off. Make sure one more time. That's down. Yep, it's a half a turn off. I don't know how that happened. Okay. That's going to be loose by a half a turn, if I'm correct. Yep. We'll have to tighten them up now. I must have went the wrong way. Half turn. Half turn. It goes, but it's a little bit tight. So now we'll back it off just a little. We'll call it good. Okay. Snap them back on. And the reason I couldn't just adjust these, because the length of these, the turnbuckle is a different, they're actually different lengths. They're 9 millimeters different. So almost a centimeter longer, the titanium part. So about 3/8 of an inch or so difference in the length. So I couldn't just adjust them to get them right. $37.7. Back to these. Six, 7. Okay. That one needs to go a half turn that way, or a quarter turn that way, and this one needs to go a quarter turn that way. And that should be right. Let's see if the length is right. Appears to be. And this goes on this side. It should be down. That's correct and correct. Oh, get on there. Are you kidding me? Finally. Oh, those two finally in the right spots. Only wasted a half an hour here. That one, quarter turn that way. This one, quarter turn that way. Length should be right. Which it is. That should be back. That should be down. We got those right. This would be a lot easier to put on with a needle nose. I don't have it out. Finally, there's the front links. Probably haven't been able to see nothing I've been doing, but front links are in place. Turnbuckles. Well, I've had plenty of time for the oil to bleed out of them shocks. Or the air. Yeah, I needed to get a pop. Okay. Ready to put these shocks caps on. That oil is down a little bit once you get the air out of it. Put 2 or 3 drops in it. Get it at least level with the top. It'll actually dome up a little bit. Take the cap, put a drop or 2 of oil in the cap. Basically trying to do, when you put this on, you're trying to get as much air out as possible before you put the cap on. Another thing, it kind of helps lubricate the threads in the cap. What I do, I snug it up finger tight as I can get it. See a little bit of oil starting to come back out of the hole, bleeder hole there. Take your rag, cover the hole up, slowly push the shaft back up into the shock, completely compress it. Keep it in that position till you get the bleeder cap or bleeder screw into it. Tighten it down. Keeping the shaft compressed. Go ahead and snug the cap up. They're usually, if the caps are new, they'll tighten a little bit more. Wipe off as much of the excess oil as possible. And then pump the shock up. And you should get, more than likely, just a little bit of pushback out or none out of the shock. In that case, we're not getting any. I usually like to see just a little bit, but for some reason that one isn't. Anyway, that should be good. We'll see, make sure the other one does exactly the same thing. Like I say, I usually get just a little bit of rebound, a tiny bit, after you pump it up, but maybe these shocks have sat in long enough that I actually got all the air out of the shocks. Yeah, I need the other cap here. Get it screwed ready to go. Boy, not much left. in there. That's full. Shock cap up here and get a drop or two into it. One, two. Start to see a little oil run out. Means you got the shock full of oil. That shock, push the shaft back in pretty slow. Squeeze all the excess oil out. Because actually, as that shaft compresses, it squeezes just a little bit of oil out of that shock. You can keep the shaft compressed tight. Put the bleeder screw back in. Snug it down. Make sure the cap is tight. So you usually will thread on just a little bit more when they're new. That shock feels a little more like normal. Hopefully this don't rebound. Nope, it didn't, so we're good. Two rear shocks done. We can go ahead and put the spring on them. Well, that's the other thing I need to do. Little shock collars. Which are these. To get the little O-ring in them. That tightens them up so they don't vibrate or move. These can be fun to get in place too. But usually not too bad. We'll go ahead and put all four of these together while we're at it. That one went right in. place. Slowly but surely getting these built. Wasted about a half hour messing with those two turnbuckles. And then I always put a drip of oil on my finger and lubricate those O-rings. Makes them go on the shock a little easier. Okay. Have to get them things slid clear up on next to the thread, or they don't want to go. Excuse me. And that's probably pretty close where they need to be. Spring on, put the shock collar on. I need to drink pop. Excuse me. And there you go. That's one shot. I got a frog in my throat. Anyway, we'll do the second one. And I usually try to get the lengths the same. So then I go to adjust the ride height. It's pretty close. Make so many turns that do it on both of them. Voila! That's the rear shocks done. And we can start on the front ones. And do them just like the back ones. Guess I need to get the little plastic parts broke off. These are a little bit, trees are a little bit different. They usually snap a little easier. I don't like that when you got a twist, because it usually is a little bit of material there. And that one snapped right loose. There we go. Thank goodness they actually got smart. They aren't like the old shocks, that's for sure. You had to trim and make sure every little burr was off those little pieces. Okay, start building these. One of the little ones, a little flange or whatever, or the narrower spot at the bottom. Like I say, I use a little wrench to make sure they don't flop over on you. Grab a thicker one, the middle. Next X-ring. Top one, thin one. Thinner spot to the top. Put the little cap on. Like I say, I always back it off just a little bit till I get the shaft through, so the O-rings aren't quite, they doesn't compress the O-rings. Make them tighter till after the shaft is through. Now that thing moved on me. There we go. O-ring, thick one. Second O-ring, X-ring, I guess they call it. It's an X-ring. That one doesn't act like it wants to go down like it should. Looks like everything's in place though. Yep. Back it off. Here we want to get some limiters in place. We've got 2 internal limiters in the front shocks. Inside, on the inside, 1 external. Sure that's right. Yep, 2 internal, 1 external. Hi Jesse. Thanks for dropping in. Yeah, I'm just sitting here talking to myself more or less, I think. We might have 1 or 2 people watching, but I actually get more views, people watching later on. Seeing what I'm doing to my vehicles or my truck. Say, put 2 limiters. I'm putting 2 internal. Means the arm won't droop as much. I got just enough of these shims. I'm gonna have to get some more. They used to give you a bunch when you in a kit, but like this setup, they didn't have any limiters in the shocks, so they decided not to put any into the kits. But yeah, I run two internal and 1 external. So mean it won't go up quite as much as it could, and it won't drop as far as it could. Then again, green slime, I fill it up till I can see it starting to come up through the bottom of the shock. Hopefully I'm not squirting it all over like I did the first bunch. There it comes. I'll be doing my coin stream on Sunday at 1 o'clock. Jesse, if you want to drop by. One o'clock Central. I did last week before the Super Bowl. So we'll leave that out. Again, we'll put a little green slime on the threads, protect the O-rings when I slip the shaft through. And then I always put a drop of oil on there too. And I cover the hole where the shaft will come out. Get it lined up, and I keep that finger tight in there so it presses as much of that green slime back into the O-rings. As possible. And it won't tend to leak as quickly. There's no doubt your socks are eventually going to leak as they get worked and beat on. But having that little bit of grease back in there kind of helps seal up that cavity where those O-rings are. Fill all the spots where there isn't any material in there. And the length on them, I guess I still need to pop these into the no reason to get ahead of myself. Have to put the limiters on the oh, that's the wrong type of ones here. That's the steering legs. Need this package. Need these. Bottom of the shocks here. Okay, why ain't you popping in there? We'll go ahead and get them limiters on here so I don't forget them. And the length is, now look, 27.5 millimeters. That should be it. Take another look. Yep, 27. Yep. What else? Need the little pliers. Fancy little tool here. Hold the shaft tight without damaging it. These do screw on pretty tight. Oh, yeah, and the one other thing, I knew there was something I was forgetting. Once I got the shafts in, I needed to tighten the little cap down here. Do that to both of them so I don't forget. See, David's still hanging out with me there. And the length of this should be 27.5. Got it on a little bit far, about 2 threads too far. Ugh. That's about a turn and a half. Let's see if that ain't close. Yeah, should have just went that other extra half. It's close. Need just a little bit more. Should be close. There we go. That one's ready to dump some oil in it. I know not to screw these in quite as far. Probably the difference between having that limiter and it probably should be pretty close. I think it's just a freckle tight. A little tougher to tell having to deal with that limiter. That should be right on then. Do like we did the others. Fill them with oil. I'm using 40 weight in the front. Say On this foam tire truck, I am going to go down one spring rate. I probably could have gone down one oil rate too. We're going to try it like this with the softer spring first. $30 in the rear, $40 in the front. Weight oil. Yellow spring in the back. Had purple on my rubber tire truck. I'm going to go try a red spring, which is the next step down. On this truck, just to get a little more steering. Soften the front end just a little bit. Anyway, I'm pumping the shock to get the air out of them. As I sit here, I can see the little air bubbles slowly rising to the top. I'll go ahead and fill the shock on up, and we'll let it sit for a little while. Let those air bubbles completely get out of the shock. Again, I got a little stand on my to hold the shocks there. While the air's bleeding out of them. Yep, that one had a bunch of air in it. Probably didn't have the piston all the way down in the body. Fill it up. Let her sit. And while we're waiting for the air to get out of them, we'll go ahead and build the last two turnbuckles. These are 50.7 the gap between the ball caps. 50.7. At least that's what they claim they're supposed to be. That's a starting point. Scissors. left facing. Take a quick look to see about where the ball stud should end up. Looks like we're about 2 to 3 threads short of the ends. A little chapstick out here. Coat the threads. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do an extra. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Probably got that one off. Yeah, it's on a little bit too far. We'll go one more back off. Amazing how hot that plastic gets. Threading these in. Because threads are not pre-cut in these. You're cutting your threads right here. That's why I go extra turns, so if I gotta make adjustments, which I will have to, the threads are already cut. It makes it easier to get the turnbuckle to turn. Yeah, that should be pretty close. We'll see. Yeah, we're a little bit tight. Need to back it off a little. Back them off about a turn and a half each. Left and right-handed threads, so and we actually got pretty close. We went about 1 thread too far. So, okay. Need to get these right. Pointed, they both will point down. So I need to turn this one a half a turn to begin with. Now they're both the right way. Now that was about half a thread. We'll go about quarter to a third more and we'll see how close we are now. And we're pretty good. I think we hit her right on the button. And these don't make a difference being left or right because they both of the ball studs stick up on both ends, so there's, like I say, these are directional. These captured ends, there's a tapered side and a flat side, and you want the tapered side down onto the ball stud. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll back it off about 8. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That looks pretty close to where it should be. Two and a half hours. Yep, we're about a half hour longer than I figured I would be just from all that messing around. Putting these turnbuckles on the front backwards. And actually they were right to begin with. Put them on, take them off, put them on, take them off. That's about right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Back them off 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. Oh yeah, I went too far with that one, didn't I? I can see it already. It's at least one turn too far. Pretty good though otherwise. Just a freckle tight. Actually, it'd go on there. See where we are on the ball ends. The one is about a half a turn off. So we'll go ahead, tighten it, line them up, and then we'll bring both of them back a little more than a quarter turns. Go about 3/8. That should be pretty close. Maybe just a little too far. Probably should only went a quarter. we go. Done with that. Get that out of the way. So we can go ahead and pop these turnbuckles on. And by then the oil should be bled, or the air should be bled out of those shocks, I'm hoping. This one's tough. So it really is no good place to get a hold of this. It's where I need the needle nose. I'm sure I can't pop it on there by hand without breaking the table. I'm gonna have to get the needle nose out. Which I buried back away somewhere. There it is. Heck, the needle nose might not even work. Oh, how in the heck? I'm supposed to get these on. There really isn't any place to. Maybe we could. No, it ain't gonna go. Well, maybe I can hook that with the needle nose. There isn't much room to get a hold of anything there. Just enough though. Probably should pop that side on. That would be easier first. Of course, it might not either. Having the steadiness of the other side. Excuse me. Oh, come on. Just ain't a whole lot of anything to be able to grab a hold of to put this thing on. So one thing, once you get it on, if you need to take it off, you just screw the ball stud out of the aluminum. Oh, get on there. Are you kidding me? These things are so tight. Got the other side on. Are you kidding me? Just isn't no place to grab those at the bottom. Oh. Excuse me. I know they make specialty pliers for these too. They'll probably pop them right on. Haha. Let's try something. Put it on this side, that way it isn't moving around on me. Guess that's how we did the other side. Now it's fighting me doing this. I bitch about the captured ends now, but I'm glad they're there. So much better than the ball cups. Okay, let's see if that don't help me get on there without it moving around. Just is nothing to grab a hold of. Okay, I'm gonna have to get the big pair of pliers out here. It's about the only way I'm gonna get that thing to go on there. It's just fighting and fighting me. Done already unpurdied my aluminum there. Fighting with it. Let's see, how else can I don't think these pair of pliers are big enough to go in through there. I hope a bigger set. Regular pliers. Of course, I don't have them right here. This is gonna work. I don't want it to pop off of there. My hand in there. Are you kidding me? This one would have been easier if I had the other side off. Doing it like this. I just don't believe this thing is fighting me this hard. Are you kidding me? I'll get this in my lap. I might have to go out and get the big pliers. Starting to get frustrated. Get the one side on, this other side is just fighting and fighting and fighting. That's the thing. done fighting this. I'm going to take that ball end out. Snap it in there. Heck with fighting this stuff. It ain't going to be easy to get it to stay in place either, but one thing about it, if I ever get it into place, pliers into place, it isn't going to go anywhere. Hope I don't screw the threads up on it. Just like that. My goodness, what a pain. Oh. Never fought one of them that hard. Okay, let's get the done with that stuff, done with this, with that, done with that. These two shocks down here. Refill the shock up. Couple drops of oil in the cap. Hopefully we get a little oil pushing out. There it goes. Slowly compress the shaft in. Keep it in place. Leader screw in. Make sure the cap is tight. We should be good to go. Maybe just a slight compression out. Not much. Looks pretty good. So get ahead of myself, get the little bleeder screw out. Ready to go. Drop or two oil into the cap. Yep, I had that one a little bit fuller of oil. Press the shaft in slowly. Put the bleeder in. Bleeder screw. Tighten the cap. We should be good. Cool. I think I pre-oiled these shock collars, or spring collars. I know I don't have to put these very far on. A little bit more, get them close to equal. too far. That should do it. Now we're ready for some springs. I think I checked that, didn't I? Make sure that cap was tight. Like I say, I'm running the red on this foam tire truck. I have purple on my rubber tire truck. Just a little bit softer spring. You can buy them ready to run, Kane. You can buy some of the cars ready to run, but if you're racing them, I would highly recommend building them yourself so you know how they're put together. But yeah, you know, everybody's cars are more or less just a little different because everybody's driving style is a little different. So then different surfaces, cars handle different. So different type of tire, they handle different. So it's wise to learn how to put them together. But we're just about done for the night. Put the shocks on it and call it a night. Okay, do we got a little special? Yeah, they're the same top and bottom. Remember having flange nuts on the bottom, but maybe they were. And of course I don't have the wrench out for them. Tell you, if you were here about 15 minutes ago, you'd been wondering why I do it. Trying to get this turnbuckle, that turnbuckle onto that ball stud. I got that one on. I struggled a little bit, but I finally just about, well, more or less gave up and took the ball stud out of the little aluminum piece, snapped that thing together because I could not get, there's no place to grab with a pair of pliers to squeeze that. And those things are so tight you can't snap them on with your finger. I went and got the bigger pair of pliers. That didn't work. Finally just took the ball stud out of the hub there and made it work that way. Still not easy getting it in there because then you got the little round ball stud trying to go all over the place. But I got it. Okay, there's the rear shocks are on. Front shocks will be on in a couple minutes. And of course I don't have my power wrench out here either. Yeah, I guess I don't have to go too far with that one. Use a regular wrench on it. And I use the outside hole on the arm. I'm in the middle on top. Middle on the rear. Anybody's wanting to see where I place my shocks. So I got the single hole forward on the rear arms. That's the thing, I don't have many people watching, Kane. A lot. How's that? Is that a good word? A lot? I couldn't tell you exactly what number wise. You know, including all the different screws and stuff. At least they don't just throw it in a big bag and say, here, figure it out. They do at least separate the parts out. And then the manual is pretty good at step by stepping you through it. And the kit setups aren't bad. The setup though for the truck is a dirt track setup, which is not a good carpet setup. I mean, it isn't bad for foam tires, but which this truck is, but for carpet it's a ways off. But anyway, besides the cosmetics and electronics, we still got to get the battery strap in here, move the electronics in here into the tray. But we're going to do that another day. Probably tomorrow. Probably do it tomorrow and get it out of the way. And then the truck should be done, ready to go racing. Well, besides taking it to the setup board and making sure everything's all aligned. We'll have to do that. We may do it Sunday. Might do it tomorrow. Just depends when we get done getting electronics in here. But anyway, Kane, well, it looks like there's 3 of you in here. David's probably still listening. I think I'm going to get out of here. We will be on Sunday if you don't catch my RC stream tomorrow putting electronics in. But Actually, that should go fairly quickly. Getting it out, getting it out of the old truck. I'll probably have that done ahead of time. So it's a matter of sticking it down, fitting everything in there. Hi MSS, I'm just getting ready to go. Finally got sort of looking like a truck. Got the shocks on it. Just missing the electronics basically. And of course then the body. But it was a little bit of a struggle today. It should have been done about 30 minutes ago. What I was doing, I was messing around. I put these turnbuckles on correct. I thought after the fact that I put them on the wrong spot. So I had popped them off, started to had one on, got to the second one. It's like, this don't look right. I actually had them on right to begin with. So it was like, are you kidding me? But anyway, it's not easy putting these together. It's not hard though. Like I say, the instructions are pretty good. Tell you how to do it. They give you a pretty good ballpark setup, and you can get setups online. They'll get you in the ballpark. But anyway, guys, we'll see you. May see you tomorrow. May see you Sunday for the Super Bowl. I am out of here.